students, it's me, Mr. Fitz. So we're going to do a video today on fractions, and most of my videos are under 10 minutes. This one's probably going to be a little longer. So you could say a fraction of my videos are longer than 10 minutes. Ha, see what I did there. Anyway, um, so what are fractions? So fractions, like I like to look at them graphically here, and this is a Delta Math question. You're going to see these on Delta Math. For those of you not familiar with Delta Math, you will get very familiar with it this year. So you can see here, like this is a fraction of, and what we're going to look at here is the shaded area, right? So this is like think of it as like a pizza sliced into 12 slices, and two of them are shaded. So this would be a fraction of 2/12, which we could simplify, and I'm going to talk more about simplification in a minute, of 1/6. So this is a nice way to think about fractions, like looking at them graphically. Now, all a fraction is a number on the number line, right? It's represented by a ratio with a numerator and a denominator. In this case, it would be 2/12, and we're going to see some examples of that. The numerator being 12, the numerator being 2, the denominator being 12. And they say there's a fine line separating numerator and denominator, but only a fraction of the people find that funny. All right, what else do we got? So fractions are numbers. Like I said, they're rational numbers, and we can see them on the number line. So for example, here, what we're going to do is we're going to in Delta Math, you're going to break this into, well, let's see, 20 slices. And so what you see here is we're breaking this line segment into 20 slices so we can represent these fractions on the number line. Now, fractions less than 1 are going to be in between 0 and 1, right? You can have fractions greater than 1. They just fall on the number line somewhere in between the integers, right? But in between the counting numbers. So again, fractions, they are numbers. They are rational numbers. They can be expressed as a ratio. They can fall on the number line, so we can represent it this way, or we can look at them like we just did in like a pizza. So we're going to look at them both ways. So we're going to go over these in class. I'm not going to go over too much detail here. But I wanted to show you some of the problems, and you should take notes on these next ones on your guided notes. So let's take a look. So this is the first one. And so it's 4/3, which is actually an improper fraction. I don't know why they're called improper anyway. That's in between 1 and 2 on the number line. So 4/3 times, and that's what that little symbol means there, times -9/8. So what I'm going to do is think about, so a negative times a positive is a negative. So you can think about it as you could say it's, instead of -9/8, you could say it's like -1 times 9/8, and then think about it that way. So we could say 4/3 times -1 times 9/8. And then multiplication is commutative, so you can multiply it in any order. Why are we not seeing that? Doot, doot. There, now you can see my writing. All right, so that's what I'm thinking about. So we could just say it's like -1 times 4/3 times 9/8. And so when we're multiplying fractions, what we're going to do is we're going to multiply across, okay? So don't confuse that with cross multiplication, because that's when two fractions are equal to each other, which is what we do in algebra. So that's what we're going to do here, is we're going to multiply across. So what I'm going to do is say this is -1 times, what's 4 times 9? 36. Over 8 times 3, 24, which this all equals -36 over 24. But we need to simplify this. So how I'm going to simplify this is I'm going to look for the greatest common factor that goes into 36 and 24. And so a lot of you are probably like, I know what that is, Mr. Fitz, it's 12. But I wanted to show you a strategy for finding the greatest common factor, and it uses Venn diagrams. So if we think about a Venn diagram, The one on the left could represent 36, and the one on the right could represent 24. And so if I take 36 and I find all of the prime factors of 36, so 36, that's divisible by what, 12 and 3, and then that's 4 and 3, and 2 and 2. So the prime factors of 36 are 2, 2, 3, 3. And then what about 24? The prime factors of 24, so we could factor that into 12 and 2. And then you could say like 3 and 4, and then 2 and 2. So these are the prime factors, right? All of these things here. So what do they have in common? Well, they have a 3 in common, they have a 2 in common, and they have another 2 in common. So we're going to put those 3 numbers in the middle. What do those multiply together to? 12. That's the common factor. And then what we have left over on the outside here is 3. And then on the outside over here, we have 2, because we didn't use that 2, right? So we didn't use that one remaining 2 here, this one. And we didn't use this 3. So 3 times 12 is 36. 2 times 12 is 24. There's your greatest common factor right there in the middle. That's your GCF. So we need to divide both of those, the numerator and the denominator, by 12. And what you're going to get is negative 3 over 2. So there's your answer. All right. So hopefully that wasn't too bad. We're going to go through the rest of these. Hopefully I can get this under 10 minutes. I'm not sure. We'll see. So the next one here, perform the operation and reduce the answer fully. Make sure that express your answer as a simplified fraction. So 2 negatives, so a negative times a negative is a positive. So again, you could say it's like -1 times 6/7 and -1 times 9/10. And then -1 times -1 is +1. So let's just go ahead and multiply these together. So so what is 6 times 9? So 6 times 9. Remember, we're going to multiply across. So that's 54 over 70. All right. What is a common factor? What is the greatest common factor for these two? Well, I know it's divisible by 2, right? So let's think about that, because they're both even, and we're going to talk about divisibility rules later. So if I say 54 70th and you divide it by 2 over 2, which is what I should have done in the one above. I've really divided it by 12 over 12, which is just 1. That's going to equal 27 over 35. And I don't believe you can factor that any further. Nope. Okay, so there's your answer. All right, the next one. By the way, if you're struggling with fractions, please, please, please come see us during office hours, because that's going to really help, or ask us for help in class. Because if we struggle with fractions, geometry is going to be pretty hard. So, okay. Perform the operation and reduce the answer fully. Make sure to express your answer as a simplified fraction. All right, so now we're dividing by a fraction. So think about this. What is 6 divided by 3? That's 2, right? How many 3's go into 6? 2, right? What's 6 divided by 1/2? Well, how many halves go into 6? 12, right? 12 halves actually go into 6. So that's what, like, when you divide by a fraction, the number actually gets bigger. So that's what's an interesting thing there. So how we can think about that is -8/9, and again, a negative divided by a positive is going to be a negative. So this is going to be just like -1 times 8/9. divided by 1/5. And so when you divide by a fraction, what you do is you take the reciprocal, you flip it, and multiply. So what is, and now we can just multiply across, right? So what is 8 times 5? That's going to be 40. And what is 9 times 1? That's 9. And there you go. That cannot be simplified any further. It's negative 40 over 9. Don't forget the negative. Okay, let's look at this one more. I believe my big head is cutting off part of the problem, so apologize for that. But it says, perform the operation and reduce the answer fully. Make sure to express your answer as a simplified fraction. So this is 1/6 divided by 9/4. Again, if you divide by a fraction, we can rewrite this as 1/6 divided by 9/4. So we could just say that's the same as 1/6 times 4/9. So what is 1 times 4? That's 4. What's 6 times 9? That's 54. Now, the common factor here, you could go ahead and do that whole Venn diagram that I did before, but I know they're both even. So I'm going to divide this by 2/2, which equals 1/27. Sorry, 2/27. 2/27. There we go. Okay, so let's look at this one. So 2/9 divided by 4. All right, this is really not that tricky if we just kind of rewrite this thing. So let's 2/9 divided by 4. Okay, that's the same as divided by 4/1. And remember, when we're dividing by a fraction, you take the reciprocal and multiply. So that's the same as 2/9 times, let's use the same multiplication symbol, 1/4. Remember, we multiply across, so that's going to equal 2/36. Both of those numbers are even, so the greatest common factor there that I know of is going to be, and you can actually just like do it in stages, right? If you like simplify it and it's not simplified all the way, you can continue simplifying it. But I know this one is going to be 1/18. So 2/9 divided by 4 turns out to be 1/18. There you go. So last thing, convert 0.745 to a fraction in simplest form. Well, we can write 0.745 as a fraction. It's a decimal. So this is going to be our tens place. That's our hundreds place. That's our thousands, right? Think about 10 has 1 0. Hundreds has 2 zeros. Thousands has 3 zeros. So we could rewrite this as 745 divided by 1,000. And then you could simplify it there. I wanted to show you a calculator trick. So this is a very useful trick. If you have a graphing calculator, which we will have them in class, so if you're not, and we say here, let's turn it on. If we said 0.745, enter. And then if you hit this little math button, number 1, it simplifies it for you. It works for fractions too. Like if you said like, I don't know, 60 divided by 360 and hit math 1, it simplifies it for you. So that's really nice. That's a nice tool. The other one is the Desmos graphing calculator. Ooh, I have it already there for me. What you would do is you would just say 0.745, right? And then what you can do is hit this little thing right here, and it shows you the fraction. And you just toggle that back and forth. So you can also do that with fractions as well. You could say, I don't know, what is, I don't know, 30 divided by 90? 0.333. I want to see that as a fraction, 1/3. Okay, so super useful tools. Feel free to use them. I would try these practice problems in Delta Math first before using the calculator, and then use the calculator to check your work, because we want to get really, really comfortable with using fractions. So anyway, hope this helps. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you around.